Welcome, r/Prorevenge, entitled Neighbor Threatened Dogs and I Break. Years ago, my mother and I had just moved to a new dog-friendly apartment complex. We had two dogs, one was a bitch and Shih Tzu and the other is a terrier poodle mix. Because of them, we were excited for the community dog park right next to our building. Also to note, our Who building was filled with dog owners, each with dogs ranging from small to huge. Our apartment was on the first floor in the back of the building, all the way in the corner. It was a nice private area for us with how the apartments were situated. Since one of our dogs is a terrier, he can be a bit barky when we are not home. Though when we are home we have a clicker to get his attention, which he has been trained to stop barking and come to whoever has the clicker. Due to our work hours I was usually home in the morning and mom was home in the afternoon, leaving him alone for a few hours during the day. After a month of moving to our new apartment, we received a note on our door. It was from one of our neighbors. It stated, "Dear neighbor, I understand that you are new to this complex, but it is rude to allow your dog to bark. It is ruining my sleep before I go to work, and my job is extremely important. I don't care how you do it, but shut your dog up." My mom turned in the note right away to the leasing officer. She wasn't sure what to do with it. That is when the office told us not to worry, because he had done this to every dog owner in the building. They did ask us to see if we can find ways to calm him down when we were not home. So we did. We found out the kids of the neighborhood liked playing with the power station outside our apartment and that is who he had been barking at. So we closed off that area for him when we went out and no one was home. We started playing calming music as a way to help as well. Another week goes by and this time we hear a knock at the door. We go outside and we meet our angry neighbor. He explains that our dog has kept him up every day and woke him up with his hours of barking. Both of us had been home that day and our dog had been a good boy and had not had excessive barking. I still remember what he had told us when I explained that. "I know what I heard. If you can't control your dog, then I'm going to call animal control and have them both taken from you. I did it before and have no problem getting rid of your dogs too. Then I'll get you kicked out for not following your lease, and I can do that because I'm very rich and the apartment needs my money. So do something to shut your dogs up or else." After that and my mom apologizing for what had happened, we went back in. A few moments later, I walked out to get the mail and discovered from another neighbor that he had gone to 3 other apartments and made similar threats. After some convincing, my mom told the apartment what had happened. We were told not to worry and if he did that again to please contact them. We also found out that the apartment had offered him an apartment away from the dogs, but he had declined since the dogs were the problem and not him. However, what he had done, my mom began to show signs of anxiety and bought a lemon spray bark collar for our dog. While I didn't like this idea, it had put her at ease to go outside our apartment. We did make sure to only put it on him when we both were not home. A month went by peacefully, then once again we get a knock on our door. This time it was animal control. They had gotten an anonymous report of a dog being abused and neglected in our home. They explained that someone has said that our dogs were barking because of neglect. My mom invited the ACK lady inside and explained the situation. We showed her everything we could to prevent our dogs from being taken away. The nice lady noticed how playful and happy our dogs were and figured it was another false call. She explained that they had gotten a few of those from an anonymous concerned neighbor for other apartments in this building. The ACK lady left, telling us that if they are threatened again, to try and get it on record. This event had turned my mom into a paranoid person who became afraid to leave the house, thinking that if she did, then she would lose her pups. Normally I'm the calmest person in my family, never really letting anyone get to me, but this neighbor had did this to hurt us. So I did my research and discovered a few things that could legally help us. With new information on certain laws and leasing terms, I formed a plan. During a weekend that my mom was visiting my aunt in a different state, I began my plan. I started it by printing out a few things and then sat outside with my phone and a speaker. I began to play a video of a dog barking really loud. I had figured out which apartment was his thanks to a few neighbors who also were tired of being harassed. I sat there looking across the courtyard to where his apartment was. I waited with a huge smile on my face, and as I hoped for, he stormed out and headed over to where I was. I turned off my video and turned on my recorder without him noticing. His face is red with anger as he looks at me sitting there with a smile. "I'm sorry, can I help you?" I ask him. I fin told you what I will do to your family if you fin didn't stop your dumb mutt from ruining my sleep. Now, I'm going to get them taken from you and get you kicked out for not doing as I said. I gave you a chance. I hope when they take your dogs that they are killed and you and your mom live inside a cardboard box. I give him a fake OD look and say, "So you are saying that I'm not allowed to make loud noises including my dogs barking between the hours of 7 AM and 11 PM, and that I went against the law by doing so? You know you did. And you are telling me this from my porch at 2 PM in the afternoon. This won't be your porch once I tell the leasing office. Oh noes. That is a very serious threat for my dogs and my family, isn't it?" "Yes it is." I give him a huge smile and turn off my recorder from my phone. The neighbor is confused now, and I ask him to have a seat. I have a few things to show him. I pull out my papers and hand him the first one. It was the county's noise ordinance laws. In our county, a dog's bark was considered the same amount of sound as a loud appliance, so they can bark between the hours of 7 AM and 11 PM. Before he could talk, I pull out another paper. This one states that it is against the leasing terms to threaten another neighbor, and after one warning, that the apartment complex had the right to revoke their lease. He looks at me with an understanding of what he had done now. I silence him and pull out one last paper. This one was another leasing term I had found. This face after reading this one had made him turn white. This last one talked about how it was a complete violation of leasing terms to go on to another renter's property and threaten them or their property. This includes the renter's outdoor area. Those found guilty of this violation will have their lease revoked immediately and be forced to leave the apartment within a set time. The scared look on his face was priceless as I silently got up and walked back into my apartment. After he finally left, I called my leasing office and explained what had just happened and agreed to email the recording to them right away. A week later my mom came home with some news that she had learned from the leasing office. The man had been evicted from his apartment and would be leaving later that week. I found out that my actions had caused the other dog owners of the building to come forward and admit what he had been doing to all of them. After that there was never another complaint, and I threw away the lemon spray collar. My mom still gets anxiety attacks once in a while, but has been getting help to ease those worries. As for me, I don't regret what I did. I just feel bad that it had to come to this. TLDR, entitled neighbor threatened my dogs and family because our dogs barking during the legal hours that they can bark. He is evicted for being on our back patio while threatening us. I grew up with dogs and have sat for a neighbor's dog, so I have no problem with dogs. Someone with 2 dogs moved into the house next door to the apartment building where I live. I work from home, and during the day he left the dogs outside in his fenced-in yard and the dogs barked all day long. When he was home, he took the dogs inside. It was so bad that even my dog-owning neighbors were upset. After a few weeks of this noise going on all day long, I walked next door and politely informed him about the problem. His response, "That's what dogs do. They bark. You want to make something of it?" Now, I'm a little older, but at 6 feet 4 inches 220 pounds, and knowing how to use it, I was kind of sad that this Ashat's significant other held him back as he stepped towards me. The next day I reported him to City Hall, and they monitored the situation. I'm not sure if it was this action or not that caused it, but they moved out a month later. It's all about respect. That hole had none. Though I'm glad Douchy neighbor got his just desserts, I can sympathize with anyone that has to tolerate a dog that barks all the time. We have 5 dogs on our property. I have an acre and a half, and we never allow our dogs to just bark. There better be a reason. We even have a little terrier mix that learned early that she better have a reason or it's the squirt bottle. If there are strangers around or deer, turkeys, jackrabbits etc., then okay, you're doing your job. But if you're barking because you hear another dog in the distance or a neighbor shut a car door, then nope. You hear voices outside? Nope. You're safe in the house, so shut up. As someone that had a neighbor with a very barky dog, he went about the whole thing wrong. He should have recorded all the barking with times and dates and emailed them to the association, as there is likely a no nuisance rule. It sucks, but when a dog is barking for 4 hours straight you start feeling bad for the dog. It obviously had separation anxiety and my neighbor didn't care enough to handle it. She eventually got quite a few penalty fees and evicted because of the barking. Don't be stupid and make threats. Follow the rules and document everything. If it continues to fail, escalate and break your lease on the grounds of them not enforcing the rules. Peace. I deal directly management office, not my neighbors. That's why I pay inflated rent prices, so they can handle the hard conversations. Good job, op. People who threaten to have pets taken away are, in my personal experience, simply afraid. Unfortunately, fear breeds anger, and anger breeds hatred. If my dogs show any type of aggression towards somebody, standoffish body language, hackles raised, low growling, etc., I generally make a point not to be around that person anymore. I always trust my dog's judgment. They've never steered me wrong. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit like. If you would like to see more, feel free to subscribe.